Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your host, Norman Murray. Welcome to another episode of the Building Bridges podcast. For my regular listeners, I appreciate you and your support. But to those first timers, we're on about 20 different podcast platforms. Just search for us by Building Bridges, one act of love at a time. If you want to hear and view some additional content, there's a link right under the description of this episode. All right, let's build that bridge. All right, everyone, welcome once again to the Building Bridges podcast. And today we're going to be building a bridge between what is using wisdom versus being educated, academically educated, that is. Have you ever come across someone that is highly educated, or I guess you could say book smart, right? So I believe we all have at times, right? And sometimes when people that are educated speak to people who are not as educated, there's a tendency to talk down to them, right? I've witnessed so many different conversations where, because the person that wasn't on their level as far as a title is concerned, they automatically dismiss that person. Right. I think we've all probably been there on our jobs, and maybe because you wasn't the supervisor or the manager, or in the church, if you wasn't the pastor, the elder, or whatever, right? You were dismissed because you wasn't at that level. Meanwhile, the person that would be called not to be on that educated level via the school system has just as much, if not more, knowledge than the person that might actually have a degree. Now, the intention of this podcast is not designed to hurt feelings of someone that is educated or is in the middle of getting their degrees. Absolutely not. Okay? Because that is a good thing. So keep pushing. If you are in school, don't stop. I believe that it's imperative that we get our education and that we teach our children to be educated, right? For those that can afford it or can obtain a scholarship, go for it. It's important because in order to survive in today's society, jobs and employers are looking for someone with a degree in certain areas, right? Now, some people will need that depending on the career that they choose. But let's be extremely clear that not every career, not every avenue of becoming successful is tied to a degree. Parents, we want to encourage those children. Push them, whether it be through academics or through a trade school, because we want them to be successful in life. But we should also teach our children to do research and study for themselves, even to be self-taught. It's okay to do your own research and make sure that you understand whatever the subject or field that they want to go into, right? Make sure that they have the knowledge and information. Now, we understand that society has made it seem like if you don't have a PhD or a master's in something, then perhaps certain companies won't even bother to look at your resume. They won't hire you, or they won't even use your services. Now, this could be true in a lot of cases, but there are plenty of small businesses and large corporations that have been started by people without a master's or a PhD or a doctorate. All right. I want to be clear when I say this. Being educated doesn't automatically make you wise. Say it again. Being educated doesn't automatically make you wise. See, being wise and or using wisdom takes time and experience. You have to learn a thing or two and have to go through something in order to be wise in an area. So you know where I'm going with this, right? We got to go to the Bible. So let's look at what the Bible has to say just a little bit about using wisdom. One of the biggest differences between that education and using wisdom is that in order to be wise, you got to get that from the Lord. That's right. Just going by what the Bible says. See, the Bible tells us that if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God. Now, if you want to go look that up, that's in James 1:5. So let me go back to the statement that I just made a minute ago, that being educated doesn't automatically make you wise. Because again, I'm reminded of a proverb that says that the glory of young men is their strength, and the beauty of old men is the gray head. Now, that gray head is simply meaning wisdom, because after you have lived a while and gone through some things and those life experiences, that's where the wisdom comes into play. By the way, that's in Proverbs 20 and 29. See, being educated academically simply means that you have the ability to be taught, receive the information, reciprocate the information, be tested on it, and then be knowledgeable in that area. But as I said before, using wisdom allows you to take the knowledge of that specific area and then make wise choices based on the information. Right? Here's an example. I can be taught to do math, how to manipulate numbers, how to make money quickly, legally and illegally. But if I'm defrauding someone, however, that's probably not a wise choice. Why? Because there are consequences that are waiting on the other end of that decision. See, this is why Solomon, in that same proverb that I just spoke about the young men being strong, right? Young men are strong and full of life and often make bad decisions. But those older men, see, they have lived a little bit and they have experienced life. They can come back to the younger generation and tell them to hold on, take a pause, let me educate you before you take that educated guess or make that educated decision. Yes, I got finger air quotes up. Let me warn you what the consequences are. You see, in my mind, being wise and educated should work hand in hand. But as I said in the very beginning, we tend to run across people who only look at their education as a reason to feel or be higher than someone else. Don't discount the elderly people in your life. Don't discount the older people on your job. And certainly do not discount the older saints in the church. They have gone through some things. They have experienced life in ways that as a younger person, you haven't even fathomed yet. Now, they may not be as academically educated or book smart as the younger generation, but please know that there is a wealth of wisdom that lies within them. Don't discount them. It's okay to be educated, but it's not okay to look down on someone that is not as educated academically as you are. Because the truth of the matter is that you are hoping to live a long time so that one day someone will look at you and call you wise. God bless y'all. Keep building those bridges.